Hi guys, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing so far. In this video, we'll talk about transitions. So in the previous video, we talked about animations, where we talked about the implicit and explicit animations. Here we will start with transition and we'll talk about built-in transitions and also custom transitions. So here I have mentioned what we are going to see in the whole video. We'll start off with built-in transitions. We'll talk about how to combine transitions. We'll talk about custom transitions, and that is where we will be talking about the asymmetric transition. So I'll rather put this like that. And well, first of all, what is actually transition? This is something which is an animation that happens when a view appear on the screen and when a view disappear from the screen. And this is the only two cases when a view appears for the first time and disappears is only when the animation that you want to give for its appearance and disappearance is what we call transition. And I've mentioned that in a brief here, that built-in and custom transitions in SwiftUI. Transitions in SwiftUI define how a view enters and exits the screen. They are used with transition and requires with animation to animate. Now remember, with animation is an explicit animation, which we have seen in the previous video and very much in detail. And let's start with examples. So I will enable the first example. So just like usual, we have our transitions example here, inside which we are calling our examples. And in the preview, this is the structure which we are previewing. And let's start with the very first one, which is not a transition actually. We saw animations in previous video, but we need to see animation curves as well, in the sense we were using the effects in animation, right? Like ease in out. So just to give you a simple brief on it, I have created one example here, and which is like ease in is one curve and ease out is another, ease in out is one, and we have spring as well. So this is just a quick example before we start learning about transition. So if you take a look, it's just having one state property, and with the help of the button, we're toggling the property. As soon as the state changes, the V stack is having the button and for text. So all the four text is just having title, as in what effect this title is going to have. We have an offset modifier, which is based on our state property. And this offset property is going to be deciding the value of x where the text should move to. So it will be 0 and then it will become 150. So it will move slightly on the x-axis. And the animation we want it for it to happen is an ease in animation with in the duration of about 1 second. And this is where we are just mentioning our state property. Now remember, animation is implicit animation. It's just going to apply the animation on the view after detecting the state change. And if there is any change in the state which is affecting this view, it will just do the animation. Now let's try running it. This is the offset and animation, which is the same modifiers for our further three text. The only difference is we are looking at ease in, ease out, ease in out, and spring, how it works. So here for ease out also we have one duration, that is 1 second, and for ease in out as well we have 0.5, half the second of response time for the spring, and damping friction is also 0.5. So let's animate this. I'll click animation. It will toggle the state property, and state property is having changes associated with it, which is here, here, and here, and so on. And all the changes related which are associated with the state will get animated. So let's run it. Now I will click it again with the same effect. It will come back to its location. Let's focus on each of them one by one. It will ease in into the animation, And this will ease out of the animation in the sense it will start fast, but it will end slow. It will have that ease out effect, and easing out will start slowly and end slowly. The movement will be starting slowly and will be slowly. The spring is just going to give a spring effect, and that is it. Let's move on to our transactions now. So I'll enable this second example of here. So I've mentioned a title here, built-in transition. So as we know, transition is about when the view appear on the screen. There is no view at all, and it will appear on the screen, and that is when we want it to appear with some sort of animation. So we call it transition. And here we have one state property, and in the VStack we have our if block. If the state property is true, currently it's false. So the first look or the first view will be having nothing, just a button, which is right here. It's a toggle button. And here we are using with animation. That basically means with animation is going to animate only those changes which are due to the state property showbox. So what are the changes associated with showbox? If you see rectangle in the frame, this is not the one. Color is also not the one. Transition is where we are sliding, and this inside the view there is no change, but we are using it as a condition for if statement. So if it's true only, then the rectangle will appear. So the change is that the appearance of the view in itself is a change, and that's not a big deal. That is something we are doing for transition so that we can utilize transition for it. And we are mentioning effect, what kind of effect you want in this transition when the view will appear on the screen for the first time. We mentioned slide in. So let's run it. So you can see it slide in into the view. That is the transition that it gives you, the effect, slide effect, and the rectangle will appear. Now if I click toggle once again, it will toggle the value from true to false, and our rectangle will go out of the screen. Let's run it, and it just slides out of the screen. There was a glitch, I guess. It was stopping, but that is because the slide transition just goes till that point, and after that it will disappear. So it is just an effect. We will explore a bit more on this. That is, if I make the transition from slide to opacity and I click, it will keep the transition, or it will keep the opacity 0 and it will make it 1 slowly. That would be the transition. And when you click again, it will make the opacity down from 1 to 0. So there are a lot of options we have, like scale. If you click, it will scale, it will give you the scale effect. Since it's appearing for the first time, we call this effect or animation transition. And when you run it again, it will scale down. Just like that, we have move as well, and I will say leading edge. So I'd like it to move to the leading edge. If I click, it will come from the leading edge, and if I click again, it will go to the leading edge and then disappear. If I give it trailing and click now, it will appear from the trailing side and it will disappear from the trailing side. Remember when we were using slide, it was appearing from the leading and disappearing in the trailing side. And that is it. I've mentioned a short note for built-in transition. That is, we have slide, opacity, scale, and move. And this is how we use it. We just mentioned the effect in the transition. And the effect would be it will slide in or slide out as you toggle. And opacity basically fades in, fades out, and scale is going to scale up, scale down. Move is going to move from a specific edge. Now, if you want to combine transitions, let's say you want to give two effects. Along with sliding, you want to give opacity as well. So we can do that as well. So I've created another example for it. so that we can keep this for the record for revision purpose. And in here, it's a very simple example. Again, we have one simple state property is visible, and in our vStack, we are having a condition based on that we will show text. So let's run it first. I will comment this and then comment our next example. So it has padding and background, corner radius, and finally the transition, where we are saying dot slide is going to be the effect of transition. We want to add one more effect like opacity. So I will just use dot combine with and mention the second effect. Now it will slide in and with the opacity from 0 to 1, and it will slide out with the opacity from 1 to 0. So it will fade in, slide in and fade in. That will be the two effect when the view enters like this, and it will get out of the screen with the fade out and sliding out. But if you just click on toggle very frequently without any specific delay, then it will just appear from the right side, because it has went or faded out, went out of the screen, exit the screen. I'm sliding in on the right side, but it is not completely, the view is not completely out of the screen, so it will just appear right from the right side. So now once it is completely gone, let's try now, and it appears from the left side now. So you have to give it time. When you make it move out of the screen, you have to just wait and then run it again, then it will appear from. If you click toggle very fast, before it just takes it times to get out of the screen. If you click before that, then it will just make that view come back to the position where it should be. And that is it. When it comes to combining transition, it's very easy to combine transitions, and we have these set of effects to give in the transition. So we have combined effects, and let's talk about custom transition. So when you can define custom transition, you have to use any transition keyword, and we use modifier asymmetric and dot animation for that. Let's see one example first. So we have same state variable is visible, using it in a condition because we don't want to make our view appear, the text should not appear initially. We want the view to enter the screen, and that is when we want to use transition. We have to use any transition keyword, and then we can give in the effects like scale, and we can give some parameters as well, and anchor. So you want to anchor the view from the center. You want to kind of put a hook in the center of the view, and you want to also you can combine that transition, basically this effect, not transition, the effect with dot combine. So this is one effect, the scale effect combined with opacity, and that is our custom transition. And that is it. To create custom transition, we have to do the toggling using with animation, and here also we can mention effect. So let's try running it first, and we'll come back to our example. Custom transition, and if you click, you will see it will give you the first effect, that is scale, and it will scale by 10%. You can see it will come from the center, and it is combined with opacity. So it is scaling, and the opacity is when you click, when it enters the screen, the opacity will change from 0 to 1, and the reverse happens when you toggle again. Now ease in is and ease out is how the scaling is going to happen. It could have just scaled up just like that very suddenly, but the thing is, you have to put, when you put ease in out, it will ease in and display you with this effect. Let's comment this if we don't have it and try now. You'll see it will appear suddenly. And when you have a specific duration, let's say 2 seconds, it will take some time to appear and it will take some time to disappear as well. So the toggle, it's not necessary that you give the effects in the transition here, but you can mention some extra here as well. And that is it. We have one more thing, that is asymmetric transition. So when you want the view to enter from one position, exit into another position, that is when we use asymmetric. It has two parameter, insertion and removal. So when the view enter the screen for the first time, from where exactly you want it, right? So you want the effect to be slide, and when you remove, you want the effect opacity. Let's try it, and I will uncomment our example and comment this one. Let's come back to our code. So when you insert, it will slide, and when it will remove out of the screen, it will be opacity. So slide, opacity, enter, remove, and remove. And that is it. That is why we use asymmetric transition, which basically means that the entrance of the view and the exit will have the effect, but that will be different effects, and they are not symmetric. So the final takeaways are the built-in transitions are very easy to use. If you want to combine, then you can combine them as well. But when you want a custom transition, then custom transition allow more control. We use any transition keyword, the modifier, that is the transition modifier, and we mention any transition. And also actually the modifiers here after any transition where we mention the effects. And we have dot asymmetric as well to create transitions. For different entry and exit effects, we use asymmetric, just a quick note on it. And that is what we have seen in this video when it comes to transition. And overall, when it comes to animation and transition, I have given a quick summary. We have seen implicit transition, then explicit, then we saw animation curve in this video initially, and then we saw transitions. So for implicit, we use dot animation. For explicit, we use with animation. We saw why and what is the difference, when exactly we should use which one. And when it comes to animation curves, we have seen like ease in, ease out, ease in out, and spring are the effects we have or the curves we have. And when it comes to transition, we use dot transition and mention the effect. What does it do? Implicit auto animates state changes. It's a very small explanation, but if you have seen the previous video, you would rely on a slightly more descriptive statements to remember what was implicit animation. It will just take care of the change in the state property which are utilized for your view, and if those states are going under change, then all the changes associated with that change in the view will happen with animation automatically. So there is an implicit effect or implicit animation is being applied by SwiftUI. And explicit animation is where we get more control over the timing and curves. So timing or curves means effects only. How? We used with animation to target one specific state variable and their associated, and then their associated changes. So if only that particular state property changes, the what do we say, that all the changes associated with that will have the animation, and the other state properties will not have any animations, or say other state properties associated changes will not have any animation. And when it comes to transition, it just animates view, entry, and exit, and that is it. That is a difference, and that will be all. I hope you find this video informative, and I will connect with